At least 5 people have died in the winter storm that has seized parts of the U.S. in its icy grip, leading to mass school closures, travel chaos and power cuts. 7 U.S. states, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Kansas, Missouri, Kentucky and Arkansas, have all declared emergencies. More than 2,300 flights have been cancelled, with nearly 9,000 delays also reported owing to the extreme weather. It's caused by a polar vortex of icy cold air that usually circles the North Pole but is reaching further south. Thousands of people were left without power early on Tuesday across states in the storm's path. Here's CBS News correspondent Rob Marciano in Washington with the latest.
The sun is coming up, but the brutally cold has set in. We are in our nation's capital, and we don't often get snow like this here in Washington, D.C., and it is beautiful watching on the television screen. There's the monument itself. You can see traffic's flowing okay on the main roads, but a lot of the secondary roads, because they're not used to this kind of snow, have not been fully plowed, and they've been frozen over. So it's dicey there. Schools have been closed again today. Many federal buildings and museums are shut down again as they try to scrape away the snow, but the cold is going all the way down to the deep south. And even though this storm is past, there's another system that's developing out of Texas, and that will trek across many of the same areas tomorrow, Thursday, and into Friday, and likely have similar impacts in dumping more snow, more ice as we head towards the weekend. So we've had pretty mild winters the past couple of years, but obviously Mother Nature has a different idea for 2025, and we're into it now, and much of the country is dealing with some brutal cold that's not going to go away anytime too soon.
Yeah, Cheryl, that's right. Thousands of Central Virginians have been without power. But look, we're on Forest Hill Avenue. This is a happy sight for people who are here. Crews have been on scene here for at least the past hour or so. And we heard from Dominion Energy earlier today. They said the Metro Richmond area and Farmville have been the 2 spots that have seen it the worst when it comes to losing power. And we actually heard from them right before we came on air. As of 11:45 this morning, about 62% of the 89,000 customers that have been impacted by this winter storm have gotten their power back. About 63,000 customers in Richmond alone lost power, and about 62% of those customers have gotten their power back. So they're working fast, they're working hard. Now, most of the outages are caused by downed trees that have fallen on power lines, and Dominion is asking customers to report outages or any downed trees or power lines as soon as possible. And they're also asking people to be patient with all of this. They have patrollers that have to first come out to the area that's impacted and assess the damage, and then they report that to a crew that works to restore the power. Now, hundreds of crews will be traveling not just today, but as long as the storm plays out, and the travel can be dangerous. So when we talked to Dominion this morning, this is what they said they're encouraging folks to do when they see crews out and working.
If you see our crews and you can avoid them, do so. Or if you have to drive by there, just drive really slow, really safely to make sure that you are taking care of our crews, so that way they can do their work and get the power back on for our customers.
Now, obviously, this is an active scene here. We can see that there's been some downed trees. You can see some crew workers moving lines. Obviously, we want to keep our distance here. And Dominion is encouraging people, if you see a downed power line, stay at least 30 feet away from it. Act as if it is live. Stay away as long as you can. And if you do see a down power line or do experience an outage, make sure you report that. You can do that on the Dominion Energy app. You can do that by calling the number on your screen, or you can do it online. In Richmond, I'm Elizabeth Holmes, CBS 6 News.
Yesterday's Winter Storm Appalachian Power reports more than 73,000 people are still without power across Virginia and West Virginia.
WFXR Zoe Mallory is in studio with the latest on APCO's efforts to restore services. Zoe.
Yeah, it was a very busy day for Appalachian Power yesterday. The company said in a release last night that they restored nearly a quarter of power outages yesterday. But in Virginia, that still leaves more than 38,000 without electricity. Restoration times vary depending on location, but some areas aren't projected to have the lights back on until Thursday afternoon. The utility company is asking for patience as extra crews come from out of state and teams try to navigate roads that haven't been fully cleared.
For a lot of those areas, we're asking for assistance from our local and state agencies. You know, the Aspen tree crews, we're trying to get people in to help us remove trees. Those roads are just really treacherous. And again, I go back to the main point. We want to make sure it's safe.
The utility company says if you run across down lines on your road, keep your distance. Don't try to move them because they still may be live. And if you do happen to come across a down line, you can call and report it to the number on your screen. Speaking of those outages, we're going to take a look now at the APCO's live outage map. Franklin County has the most outages right now, over 12,000. Other areas with a lot of outages include Montgomery, Floyd, and Patrick County, as well as Bedford and Campbell County.
An apocalyptic scene in Southern California. Valleys filled with smoke, flames taking over hillsides as at least 4 major wildfires burn out of control. Embers flying all around, pushed by hurricane-strength winds.
Oh, and we had, a partial structure collapse.
This afternoon, we got our first look at the devastation from the air, the wind slowing enough for helicopters to fly safely.
It's Armageddon. I'm driving through a war zone right now, and I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless. I'm shocked.
The winds also kept firefighters from launching water-dropping helicopters, people running with buckets of water in their hands, trying to do anything they could to save homes. Others rushing to grab any belongings they could. Neighbors tried but could not save the Symington family's home of 24 years.
It makes me want to cry, but it also, in the midst of the dark hour, puts a little ray of love and hope.
All the stuff that's here is replaceable. People are not. We're having the family is the most important thing.
A senior assisted living center destroyed. All of the over 90 residents evacuated safely. Some rushed to safety in wheelchairs.
This is not a normal red flag alert. The LA County Fire Department was prepared for 1 or 2 major brush fires, but not 4.
President Biden is in Los Angeles for an unrelated matter and got an update on the disaster from firefighters. He's also spoken with Governor Gavin Newsom.
We're prepared to do anything and everything as long as it takes to contain these fires and help reconstruct, make sure that we get back to normal.
In addition to the wind, it's extremely dry here. There has not been sizable amounts of rain in over 8 months. Now the California National Guard is sending troops who are specially trained to work with firefighters. Alex Stone, ABC News, Altadena, California.
3 major fires burning in Southern California has caused catastrophic damage. The 2 biggest are the Palisades and Eaton fires, which have burned through thousands of acres. Fire officials say that they are overwhelmed. President Biden did get a firsthand look at the damage during a trip to that area.
We're prepared to do anything and everything as long as it takes.
President Biden approves a major disaster declaration to help Los Angeles as it struggles to contain 3 major wildfires burning out of control.
It's impossible for me to express the level of appreciation.
The approval came as Biden got a personal briefing on the fires during a visit to a Santa Monica fire station Wednesday. Biden was in town for an event to announce 2 new national monuments. That ceremony ended up canceled after Santa Ana winds picked up Tuesday night, quickly spreading flames.
Obviously, this one here is a total loss. It's just one of those things where there's just not enough engines to be able to put in front of every home as we would like, but they're doing their very best.
Dry conditions and powerful Santa Ana winds of more than 100 miles per hour in some areas forced hundreds of people to flee their homes overnight. So far, authorities say more than 1,000 structures have been lost, and that number is likely to keep going up. Resources in that area are spread thin, even as hundreds of firefighters work to contain the flames.
My heart just breaks for all my neighbors who have lost their homes.
Officials say at least 2 people have already lost their lives due to the fires. There are also several people hurt. They're now urging residents to stay alert and evacuate if needed.
Please prioritize your safety as well as the well-being of those around you.
Well, President Biden also says that he's directed the Department of Defense and the National Guard to send resources to Los Angeles to help with fire containment.
Well, none of it is good. The fires are still utterly out of control, most of them. The 2 biggest ones keep growing. We keep getting updates from CAL FIRE. The Palisades fire is now above 11,000 acres. The Eden fire above Pasadena is now above 10,000. And they're not just burning through woodlands or grassy hillsides, they're burning through actual neighborhoods, both of them. We have more than 120,000 people evacuated. They are filling into hotels. They're calling up friends and family, trying to find a place to stay. And it is starting to really paralyze life in our second largest city.
We just want to mention for those who are watching right now on YouTube and, of course, on our Bloomberg Original streaming channel, that what you are seeing right now is a live shot of the fire. So we're not quite exactly sure of the location here, but obviously within the area that we've been talking, the Pacific Palisades, Pasadena, those general areas. But that's what we're seeing right now.
David, I'm racking my brain here trying to come up with a recent historical corollary to this, historical precedent to the scale of this evacuation and how many people and structures and homes are at risk here, and I can't do it. Is this unprecedented, or do we have historical examples of when fires have threatened and indeed devastated areas such as this in the past?
It's funny you say that, because I was having this conversation with Ned a few minutes ago, and honestly, I think the closest thing that you can compare this to is the 1994 Northridge earthquake in LA.
I thought of that.
I mean, in terms of a natural disaster of this scope affecting so many people, that's probably it. California, we've endured so many bad wildfires in the last decade, but most of them have been in rural areas, not in a major city like this. And yeah, this is something different.
Mark Ongleff, I want to bring you in. I've been watching your face on the monitor, and you're shaking your head here. You know, I feel like you, me, Tim, we have these conversations of just when we think it can't get any worse, it certainly feels like it can.
Yeah, it's really grim. And when we were talking about things that are unprecedented, you know, one of the things one of the scary things about these fires is that they didn't exist Tuesday morning. Like 36 hours ago, they didn't exist. All we had was a warning from the Weather Service that there were going to be strong Santa Ana winds, maybe the strongest ever, the strongest since at least 2011, when there were some really devastating ones. And they warned that there was an extreme risk of wildfire. And this is the first time that the National Weather Service has ever warned of an extreme wildfire risk in the lower 48 states in January ever. And so right away you got the sense, well, this could be really bad. And, you know, we hoped that it wouldn't be, but it has turned out to be as bad, if not worse, than we expected.
Santa Ana winds, Mark, nothing new, as you write in your piece. What's unique about this moment in history, the development of this area, and what's been happening in the broader climate over the last 3 decades or so that create this really combustible mix?
Yeah, it's a toxic mix, as you say. Santa Ana winds, wildfires, those have been part of California life for forever. The difference now is that climate change has made a lot of factors much worse. So you get a lot of rain and snow and during those seasons, and that is great. It produces you get a lot of water, but it produces a lot of plants. And then during the summer and fall seasons, when you're not having any rain, the air is hotter, the air is drier. All these plants that grew during the spring are drying out and providing kindling for these fires. The air is drier, which, you know, makes it more combustible. The other big problem here is that we have built millions of homes in the wildland-urban interface, where maybe, you know, wildfires used to just burn and only affect plants and trees. Now the houses themselves are serving as kindling for these fires. And so you have these fires that are hotter than usual, moving faster than usual, and they're jumping to houses which are burning and then creating their own kindling to spread the fires even faster. And it's a scary situation.
Mark, you have been looking at all of the maps and the information, the numbers and the air support. What are you learning right now?
Well, unfortunately, I have to report we are now dealing with a fourth fire. This is absolutely the last thing that we wanted to see during this major windstorm. The fact that 3 major brush fires are tying up so many fire agencies, they now have to deal with a fourth. It's called the Woodley Fire. It's burning in the Sepulveda Dam Recreation Center in the heart of the San Fernando Valley, right where the 101 and the 405 meet. I'm going to show you on my map. CAL FIRE, our state firefighting agency, already has an icon for it. It's right here, approximately 75 acres, reported just about 30-40 minutes ago. This is an area that is going to be a very difficult firefight. Basically, it is the Sepulveda Dam wildlife area. It's all vegetation right here. We don't have any fire footprint yet, and we don't know how many structures are threatened or not, but anyone on the 405 or the 101 is going to be able to see this fire. There is an incident update on the CAL FIRE website. It says the fire has grown approximately to 75 acres and is being driven by strong south winds. Incident Command reports that it poses a threat of crossing Burbank Boulevard. Crews are actively working to contain the fire and protect structures in the affected area. Now, coming back out to where Burbank Boulevard is. Let me show you on the map of what they are concerned about for this new fire. This is Burbank Boulevard as it passes here through. So we know that there is a threat that this fire is going to move down south through here and affect the area of Encino near the 101 and the 405. So they are actively working to fight that fire. Now, I did see on the Citizen app, there is a short clip here of what the fire looked like right when it broke out. You can see that's what the Sepulveda Dam recreation area kind of looks like. It's very dark. There's a lot of brush there. This is probably from someone who was either on Burbank Boulevard or at the 405. So the wind really causing a problem for firefighters. And I want to say the other thing that the wind is causing is power outages. We are dealing with a massive number of power outages right now. Southern California Edison says they've had to turn the power off to 83,000 customers due to the public safety power shutoffs. This is the map. I've been showing it to you for the last 48 hours. All of these orange areas are the warnings, but the black striped areas are places where the power has been turned off preventatively. It's basically across all of the counties of Southern California. You can see here, they're everywhere. They're everywhere in both the Inland Empire, Orange County, parts of Majeska Canyon, Silverado Canyon, Riverside, Temecula. All of these areas have power outages. This is where the power has been turned off purposely. There are also areas, approximately 54,000 people have their power turned off due to accidental problems, wind-related things. And then there's this. This is LADWP's power outage website. I personally have never seen anything like that before in my life. All of those orange dots are power outages that they have not even yet begun to repair. LADWP says each one of those orange circles, the big ones here that you see, that's between 500 and 2,500 customers without power. These purple and blue ones, the purple ones are areas where crews are actively working to restore power. You can see 3 here in the valley. The blue ones, like over here in Woodland Hills and in Sherman Oaks, that's where crews are on their way. But all of the rest of these orange dots, these are places in the city of LA where the power is out and crews have not yet even been able to respond. That's how damaging this wind event is for the power system in Southern California. Then let's move on to the city of Glendale. They have several power outages in their area, including about 7,400 customers affected here. And also Pasadena, they have problems as well. If I'm going to zoom out here, there are about 2,600 customers affected, including right here in the center of your screen, the Hastings Ranch area. That's where Amanda Starantino was. I'm sorry, the map is sort of not responding to me, but they've got 2,600 customers out as well due to high winds all across Southern California. So we're dealing with so many threats right now coming back out live here to me. As people are waking up and possibly going to work, they may be waking up without their electricity on, and it could be hours even into the evening before it comes back because these repair crews are stretched so thin. That's it here from the desk.
President Biden received updates on the massive fires today. The president and California Governor Gavin Newsom paid a visit to a Santa Monica fire station today as Biden meets with California fire officials all day. President Biden says resources are on the way to California.
Folks, the fact is that I've directed DOD, Department of Defense, to rapidly provide additional firefighting personnel and capabilities. I've also, California National Guard is adding 2 modular air firefighting systems units, and 2 more are being ready for the National Guard, the Nevada National Guard.
As of this afternoon, the fires are still 0% contained.
Yeah, I want to take you here live right now. So this is Pacific Palisades. All of these cars were ditched. So all of the drivers panicked. They took their keys. This is Palisades Drive as well as Sunset Boulevard. This dozer is just moving these vehicles out of the way. So if this is your car, unfortunately, it's an emergency situation, and this is what they have to do. They are moving the cars as we speak. Unfortunately, there are dozens of cars. This looks like a movie set. Unfortunately, this is real. LA County Fire, they have to do what they have to do. They need to clear a path. So literally, they're moving the cars, the SUVs. We're seeing Mercedes, very nice vehicles, Teslas up here, but that's because the car owners, they took their keys and they just started running. They left the cars here as the firefighters were trying to clear the pathway clear the roadway. This is an emergency situation where, they need to get up to the homes. They want to make sure people are not trapped up there. But this line of cars probably goes about 300 feet deep, at least as long as I can see from this bird's eye view. So we're kind of staying back. They're in a situation here where they are literally moving these vehicles out of the way. Yes, it is causing damage, as you can hear from the screeching noises, but that is what they have to do.